Yeah.
So that leads me to a question that I've been meaning to ask. So I know that you brought up all the studio stuff, but all right, so let's say you get all your studio stuff, all right, and you get some money. What's the first piece of gear you want to buy after the pandemic when you're back out playing shows?
Ooh. Oh man. Oh man, are you ready for like a 2 hour long response to this question? I just,
What you got?
like so like I was actually like, so on Sweetwater I have like my studio wish list, and then I have just like a miscellaneous like list of just like all these like
I wish you didn't just remind me that you can make wish lists on Sweetwater because now I'm in trouble.
I'll pray for you afterwards, man.
You got the studio one, and then what else do you have?
Well, the other one is just like filled with just like different like pedal boards and like amps and guitars.
Okay.
Man, but there is one guitar that I really, well, man. No. Now that I think about it, there's not just one guitar that I want. There's two specific guitars that I like really like want. The first one you can't the first one you can't find on Sweetwater, but it's one that I've played like many times. It's the Sadowski LS15.
Yeah,
which is
it's their version of the Gibson L5, right?
yeah, it's similar. It's similar to that. I'll show you.
You might be able to find it. There's a store in New Jersey that specializes in like jazz guitars. Have you ever been to Golden Age Fretted in Westfield?
Yeah, I've been there.
That's I know that they've had them in the past. Maybe not that model, but every time I walk into that store, I feel like that jazz just kind of kicks back on in your mind.
There's another place called Guitars and Jazz. It's in Summit, which is
How have I never been there before?
It's a very like it took me a while to find it. It's like quite literally a hole in the wall store. It's kind of like branched off of this pharmacy. Like it's like you have to go in through the pharmacy to get to the shop. It's like practically a closet, but it's just wall to wall.
Yeah.
With guitars. Just
There's a place like that up in a Teaneck called Lark Street Guitars, and I've only been there once. It's one of those where you walk in and it's only used stuff, right? It's all used and vintage, and they have a whole electric section and then an all acoustic section. And when you walk in and you see an actual Dumble amplifier, right? They sell for like between 80 and 100 grand.
mm-hmm.
And then you just have like vintage 335s and a 52 telly, like an actual 52 telly on the wall. And you're like, can I like touch that? And they're like, yeah, go play it. And then you sit down and you're just like, oh man, so this is what a real year salary feels like sitting in your hands, for some people, right? For us, it's probably more like 3 or 4 year salary to get something like that.
For real.
I look at the price tag and my girlfriend looks at me and she's like, I don't want you to even touch that. I'm like, but the guy said I could play. And she's like, if you do anything to that guitar, I'm like, okay. So I played it for just a minute and then I put it back.
Man, dude, the amount of like when you go to like an actual like boutique like guitar shop of actual like vintage vintage stuff like that, it's just like, dude, I just I have like there's like so many times, like especially at Guitars and Jazz, where like I go to like, or I went to because of the pandemic, but like I went there so often, like, and there was always like there would always be like one guitar there that I would play for like 45 or 50 minutes, and then I'd put it down, try out other things, try out a couple other guitars for like 5 or 10 minutes each, but then I would always end up at that one guitar again. I'd just be like, I have to play it again. It's like a drug.
Absolutely.
But that specific guitar
Okay.
The Sadowski LS15. Vic, my teacher, had like that was like one of the guitars that he would always bring to our lessons.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah, teachers have a huge influence. When I saw my teacher with the first model of the John Petrucci signature one day in my lessons, I didn't know what Dream Theater was at the time. It was a shiny purple guitar with all black hardware, and if I broke a string, he'd let me, play it in the lesson. And so that became my dream guitar. And then one day I finally got it. It may no longer be with me, but the neck didn't quite jive with me. But right, seeing the teachers with all this stuff, it definitely kind of drives like, oh, those things are so cool. I want one of those one day.
yeah, and it was like, I mean, like with like I mean, Vic always had like, I mean, Vic had very very nice guitars. Like he had like he was not. I mean, for the record, he was endorsed by he was endorsed by Sadowski guitars.
Cool. Yeah.
And so he always Roger Sadowski, I guess, sent him a bunch of stuff too. But that specific guitar, it just every time I heard him play it. I mean, anytime I heard him play any guitar, he could make a tennis racket sound good if you gave it to him. But that specific guitar, it just had this look about it. It was like a semi-hollow type of deal. It was kind of like a Les Paul-ish type of deal. It had the single cutout, and but it was a semi-hollow.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, that is. Oh man, that is.
You're looking at it now.
Oh yeah, I got the double screen setup going.
Mm.
Yeah, that is. I've seen one of those definitely. I think the coolest thing about those high end jazz boxes are the parts that are made of the wood ebony. I love the ebony looks of it.
Dude,
and yours is kind of are you looking at that orangey kind of burst color?
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh man, I would do things for that guitar. That thing is beautiful.
It
must have some volume out of it too, right? It resonates well.
It has not only has volume when you plug it in, but just unplugged, it projects like crazy.
That's what I'd be looking for if I had to go back to a full hollow body jazz guitar for anything, need to project, because I would want to multitask also teaching with it. I'm using my Martin now for teaching. I was using my Taylors for years. I switched to Martin this year. But yeah, projection is a big thing. If it's not going to make any sound,
Yeah, exactly.
It's more dead, but
yeah. So that guitar, I would always whether he would bring it in. I usually never try to ask to play other people's instruments, just because I know some people are kind of sensitive about their gear and stuff.
Of course.
But there was one day he brought it in several times. He wouldn't bring in the same guitar for every lesson, but that one in particular just resonated with me. And there was one day we were in a lesson. I was just like, Vic, can I please just play that guitar for 10 seconds, or just not even 5 seconds? Can I just hold it, please? And he was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, absolutely. Here you go. And I played it, and it was just bliss. It was just it was one of those moments where it was just everything was just I wasn't making any mistakes on it. It just felt it was just a really special moment that I had. And when I went to his house, a couple times, both when he was alive and then after he passed, just to help out with some stuff. I always ended up playing that guitar, and it was because it was just I was I'm never gonna sound as good as him, but this just feels so nice.
If the gear inspires you and motivates you to become a better player, then I say it's worth the price for sure.
Exactly. Now, the other guitar that I want, it's like a two-way thing. It's the LS15, and then an Ernie Ball Music Man Cutlass.
Which model?
I don't know which one. All I know is that there was one time when I went to, it wasn't Guitar Center, but it was like another guitar shop. But I went there and I picked up this it did have a roasted maple neck. That's what I remember. Like, so like whichever one I get,
the turquoise color.
Yes, that one.
Cool. Yeah, I've had the exact same guitar. So the Cutlass comes in like the two configurations. You have the humbucker single or 3 single coil pickups. The Cutlass is one of the guitar. We'll get to my list in a second, but that's back on my list because I've had them, I got rid of them, and now I miss them. So I have a Fender Custom Shop Strat now, but I'd rather have a Cutlass, and I'll go through my reasons in a minute. But
that thing kind of does a Strat.
Better than a Strat.
Better than a Strat does a Strat.
Absolutely.
That was it. Like, I picked it up not knowing that it wasn't a Strat. I picked it up. I was like, and it had humbucker single. That's what I remember. Like, so like,
I have that exact same guitar.
So whichever one I get, it will have a humbucker. That is for damn sure. But I picked it up. I was like, what? I was like, oh, cool, a Strat. Like, let me pick it up. Like 18-year-old me, just like wandering. Oh, look at the Strat, and like picked it up, and I was like, oh wow, like this is really, like, I mean, I love Strats, but I was like, this is really nice. And then I looked, I was like, where's the Fender logo? And I was like, oh, it's not a Fender. Okay. I was like, whatever this, like, Ernie Ball Music Man, like, okay, this is the thing. This is the thing.
I proudly endorse Ernie Ball every step of the way.
Oh yeah.
I'm on like Majesty number 6 right now, and they're just so insane.
Are you? Sorry, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say the 3 main reasons why I prefer the Cutlass to the custom shop Strat I have now. 1, the freaking truss rod is in the neck like they were in the 50s. So if you need to make adjustments, you got to take the freaking neck off the guitar to make adjustments. And that's just way too much maintenance for someone who, hopefully when this is all over, goes back to gigging with it as regularly as he did. Mm-hmm. I don't have the time to take the neck off my freaking guitar to make adjustments to it. No. So that's the first thing. 2, Ernie Ball has their silent circuit. So when you have the battery in the guitar, the single coils don't make any 60 cycle hum, which is phenomenal. And you'll realize that when you go to get yours. As long as you got the battery in the back, there's no 60 cycle hum for the single coil pickups like you do with traditional pickups.
Oh, wow.
And 3, it's got 22 frets and locking tuners, so you can hit those high notes on the solos for days. And string changes are so a breeze. It's literally everything that you wish a Strat had a little bit of improvement of, and it's there in a cheaper package with the roasted maple neck. And Ernie Ball does some of the best finishes on non-boutique guitars. Now, I still feel like PRS does the best finishes overall, but again, Ernie Ball and PRS are the 2 brands that I use just nonstop,
Yeah. Man, that was like it. When is that like? Yeah, I like with Ernie Ball. Like I always kind of like, I always like knew them as just like the strings, like,
yeah.
As with the slinkies and stuff, because that's the Ernie Ball slinkies were the only strings I used for. From when I started playing guitar when I was 10 up until I was around like 18 or 19. Now I use elixirs because like those just because like I found that, I mean, just because I found that Ernie Balls like they dulled very easily, and they just like I never really had the time or the money to get the guitar restrung every single week. So like I needed strings that could last at least a little bit longer and still feel somewhat clean. So like that was like kind of when I had like a light sort of lifted from my eyes, and I was like, oh, like there are, because like I only really bought Ernie balls because like those were like the package that I saw. I was like, the pink string gauge or whatever.
Yeah, 9 to 42s.
I'm trying to call. The phone number is busy.
Okay.
So if I get through, I'll let you know. But I'm going to run to the apartment and get the computer scan.
Okay. That's my mom.
Yeah, the 9 to 42s. Is that what you use, 9 to 42?
10 to 4. No, I use. So I do a little bit of a Frankenstrings experiment.
Oh, you're one of those people. Oh, sorry. What do you use?
So first for the telly, I have the top 3 are from an 11 set, and then the bottom 3 are from a 52 set.
Okay.
So it's like
an 11 to 52 hybrid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like light top, heavy bottom type of thing. Because I prefer the sound of a telly with a set of 10s. Like I think they sound better with 10s. Same thing with the Les Paul. I think they're just like, because that's kind of the sound that I heard. Listening to like Zeppelin or like early stuff like that. That was the kind of sound I heard on records. It was like a 10.
Most of those guys used 8s or 9s. Yeah.
Yeah, like Hendrix played 8s and 7s. For it's like
down a half step. The Hendrix gauges. Like I don't know how you even get sound out of those. I use 10 to 46 across the board. For a whole step down or drop C or anything low, I'll go like 10 to 52. When I still played 7 strings, I would use a 10 to 60 or 10 to 64. But 10s across the board. I do, though, when we start going out and gigging again, I'm going to try putting 9s on the Novo, which is the main guitar I use for Triple Addiction. Because I don't know, how much of a YouTube guy you are, but I follow way too many music channels to count. But some of my favorite channels, Rick Beato and Rhett Scholl, they did these comparison videos of different string gauges. And there were guys who religiously used, 10s, and then Rhett switched over to 9s, and he's like, it just kind of breathed some life into it. So I was like, all right, maybe, I'll give that a shot. But yeah, I've been using D'Addario NYXL 10 to 46 strings ever since I can remember them coming out. So those are my go-to. Yeah, 10 to 46 for everything. For a while, I did 11s, 11 to 49 down a half step. But then, when you're getting up to those crazy bends, it can just put a little strain on you, So like for those bar gigs where you're playing for 3.5 hours straight, gotta give your hands a little bit of a break, so you can keep on playing for sure,
Yeah. I always, before I settled on like the strings I use now, I definitely did like do a little bit of experimentation. What I found was that I'm like, with Ernie, with the Slinkies, like I only really got them because those were just the stock strings that they would give away at any guitar lessons, shop or whatever. So I didn't really have an opinion on them. I was just like, but then like when I came to, I was like, okay, I need something a little more durable. And I tried D'Addario, like nickel wound, like just like the regular,
the $5
yeah, wasn't really a huge fan just because they also dulled pretty easily, like they dulled pretty quickly rather. But with with Elixir, I'm not like much of a string, like I'm not like much of a snob, like when it comes to that. I'm just like, these are the things that I trust to last longer. What I did do, though, was I put D'Addario flats on my Les Paul. So I think
they make some of the best flat wound strings. I tried those real expensive $3 Tomastic infield strings, the ones that are like $25, $30 a pack, and freaking broke a string. I'm like, I'm playing jazz. How do you break a string playing jazz? It was an 11 gauge set. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, these strings were $25. And it just freaking broke like a D string. And I'm like, what? I'm like, no. Oh, yeah, the Dario Chrome flat wounds. That's what Pat Metheny uses. And if they're good enough for Pat, they're good enough for me. 11 to 49, throw them the fuck on and just use them. Or 11 to 50, whatever they are.
Exactly.
Yeah, their flat rounds are so nice.
If it works for Pat, then it works for me. You know.
Yeah, if it doesn't work for me and it works for him, then clearly I'm the problem. All right.
That's yeah. I was a little hesitant about like putting flats on a Les Paul just because like of how sacrilegious that is to a Les Paul, but it's like I mostly did it out of necessity for me, just because like I never really had enough money to I didn't and still don't right now have enough money to purchase like an actual hollow body jazz guitar, or even like not just a hollow body jazz guitar, but even just like a 335. Like I love those guitars and I want all of them, but I just don't like.
Flats are the big part there. I in high school I put flats on that PRS that I got, and of course it was for the jazz band. I had a metal concert like the week after, so as soon as the jazz band thing was done, rip those stupid flats off and put nickels on. I'm like, yeah, there's on my top end again.
This is what it's like to
play instrument. When I had that second, I had a real cheap Ibanez. It was like the cheapest hollow body they make, the art core they call it. It's like blue and it has like a fake Bigsby on it. I think it's like what, $200-300 or maybe $4. I used that thing all junior year and senior year, and I just kept one set of flat wounds on it. It was a sick guitar. It was so cool,
dude. That was I never told you that was the guitar that I was going to get.
Okay.
Like that was the guitar that I was going to get before I got the Telecaster. Okay. Like it was right after, or I think it was like during my spring break, like freshman year of college. I was home, and I went to like my dad and I always went to Guitar Center together, just like checking out. He would always just like check. He was a drummer too, so he would go check out the drums.
Oh, so like, cool! Yeah,
all that stuff. And so it was like a little class trip for both of us, I guess. And so I was like, Dad, there's this guitar that I really that I want. He's like, oh, cool. He's like, what is it? I'm like, oh yeah, it's this really cool Ibanez art, just like not knowing anything about like how reputable the brand was, or just like how cheap the guitar actually was. Just like, oh, it looks cool. Like let me want. It was like $200 or $300.
Yeah, it did the job though. They're very solid for what they are. Now mine took a headstock crack though because it fell, and because those things are so light and hollow. I came downstairs because I heard like a. I was like, oh no.
Oh no.
I come downstairs and there's like a couple pieces of wood in the headstock and the strings. I cried a little bit. All right, this was like this was senior year of high school because I only had that guitar for like 2 or 3 years, but yeah, that was my first experience with a broken headstock. I love that guitar too. And I was even hesitant when I sold it. It's like, even though I had a headstock repair and everything, I was like, this gave me my start for jazz. But yeah, I feel you, man.
But so we went to Guitar Center that weekend, and I was like, okay, that's the guitar. But then right next to it was this guy.
Old Reliable, yeah.
This guy, old Reliable. I mean, it's more. I mean, she's more than Old Reliable to me. But it was like I saw it, and I was like, I'd known about Tellys or whatever, but I was like, all right, let me give this a shot. I played it for like 5 or 10 minutes, and it was again one of those things where it just felt so good. And my dad was watching me the whole time. He was just like, and then I looked up at him, and he was just like, he kind of gave me a look. He was like that one, right? And I just looked at him. I was like, yeah. So like that was, and then like I didn't buy that other guitar. Like I walked out with this one.
Yeah.
And I was
Sometimes
like,
that's just what you do.
yeah. And so that's kind of, you know, the basis of like why I have the gear that I have, you know, because I got my Les Paul, the Telly, and my acoustic right here, my
Good old
Yamaha.
Yamaha acoustic. Yeah.
Yeah, this one was really you know, cheap, or like it's not cheap.
Which is
I
that?
guess
That's
it's like,
the FG series, right?
yeah, exactly. This one was only like $300, and it's like it feels really nice, sounds really nice.
That's the thing, as long as you have a solid top on the acoustic, you can get most of the way there.
Exactly. But so yeah, that was like I guess each instrument I have, like, you know, I mean, I will get more gear, like more and more instruments like down the line, but like I'm never parting with any of. I'm not parting with either the Les Paul or the Telly, just because like the Les Paul. I mean, it's not only, you know, it's not only for like a sentimental reason, but it's also just like it's, you know, it was the first decent guitar that I ever got. You know,
Gotcha,
upwards
yeah.
of, because, you know, I started playing in I think 2007. I was like, it was right after my 10th birthday.
Yeah, I started in 2008 when I was 11, so that sounds right.
hmm And you know, so you know, from that point on until like February 2012, all I had was, I mean, I had a Yamaha acoustic, which was not this one, but a different one, which I only got rid of it like pretty recently, and so like it was great guitar, but then I also had a Squier Strat, you know, which I actually rediscovered when I went through my storage unit a few months ago, and it's in my closet right now. So I had it set up and like restrung, and it still feels nice. I mean, it's still a Squier, so like, you know, but I might do like a pickup job with that when this is all said and done. Like I might just
Just
do
try
this,
your hand at it.
just do this. That's probably going to become my beater guitar. Like I'll just do all kinds of shit to it just to
That's
fuck
what
with
it's
it.
for.
Yeah. But like, yeah, so like the Les Paul, I was like, well, I mean, I was playing the Strat for a long time, and it was just like, it just kind of like, it got to a point where I was just like it just like was not like, you know, my thing. It just was not like, you know, it wasn't, it didn't resonate with me, you know. It just kind of felt like, it felt like a tool, you know, in a way. It just kind of felt like it was just like, it was like, I play this to get sound, but I don't feel anything.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And so like you know, I mean, which that is, you know, I respect people. You know, I understand, you know, the need to buy things out of necessity, you know, to get like a certain sound or whatever, which I will end up doing, you know, in the future.
Right.
But it's like, you know, but like for me, it's like, you know, I didn't need to play music, you know. I wanted to play music, and I was like, I didn't look at guitars as like a thing of like, I need this to like get a, you know, I need this because this, you know, this musical requires a 1960s Strat sound or something like that. I got it. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to use this for, but I fucking want it. I'm like, and so like that's always kind of been my motivation behind like gear and stuff like that. It's like, you know, yes, there are like, you know, this Telecaster was, you know, $450. It's a Mexican Tele that, like, you know, for years, like before I figured out like you could like change pickups or whatever, it hummed like crazy, and I hated that, but like I still love the guitar, and I was like, you know, I always like that. It always, I held that value like more than just like how, you know, than other things or whatever. You know, so that was like, so that's kind of why, like, you know, the Les Paul I'm never getting rid of, because that Les Paul like really like invigorated, something in me that just wasn't there with the Squire. And then the telly, like I didn't really discover like I didn't really like get a sound, like a decent sound on it until like years after I bought it. And like now, I mean, I can't really play anything else because they're my only guitars. But like, but like I'm never, whenever I do pick it up, it's like I can never put them down. It's just,
dude, yeah.
I don't know, like I know you like, you kind of go through gear like pretty like frequently, I guess, or more frequently than others. But like you know what I mean, right? Just there's,
oh yeah, I mean, this one here is not going anywhere with the custom 2408 because I had a PRS custom 24 in a violet, which you see in a ton of my profile pictures and stuff. I just traded that guitar because I needed other things. But the whole reason I got this was because I really wanted a PRS 408 because what they do is they have the switches down here that switch from humbucker to single coil mode without any volume drop, which is just nuts. So it's a custom 24 and their 408 model all into one. And this one looks like an ocean in person, with the sand in the back.
I love that.
So I can use this guitar for literally everything because of that. The other guitar I'm not going to get rid of is this Majesty, because this is the one where when I went to Gear Expo and I met John in person, he held it and he signed the back plate.
You cannot get rid of that.
So I went in the corner and cried a little bit after he held my guitar and signed it. It was an emotional experience.
Reasonably so.
I'm still looking for an acoustic that really, really sits with me. I had a Taylor one, then I got a Taylor 8 series for a bit, and it was great, but plugged in, it just sounded like crap. That's the shortcoming of Taylors, is plugged in, they're not as full as a Martin. So I have a Martin now, and I love it.
Yeah, Martin's.
I picked up a Martin D18, and I told myself I shouldn't because like I don't like dreadnoughts to begin with. I played one chord. I'm like, that's a fucking acoustic guitar right there. That is the sound I've had in my head. So I bought it, and it was incredible. And the only reason I got rid of it, or I returned it to get the one I have now, is because I just need something that I can plug in. Now, yeah, I could have just got another pickup for it and whatnot, but yeah. Big regret is that I started the year with the Martin D18, and I should have just stuck with it. Now, I love the Martin I have now. It's a custom model, but that D18, man. In terms of gear that I want, again, I want to get rid of the custom shop Strat I have, and I want to go back to a Cutlass, like you said, and then use the rest of the money to get another Paul, because it took me until last year to find a Les Paul that I actually liked. I'd never found a need for them. I never really liked them. Finally found one that was like perfect. Loved it, played it. It was great. Used it on a couple gigs. But when the opportunity come to pick up a Novo guitar, I had to trade something in, so I had to trade in the Les Paul in order to get the Novo, which is fine, because the Novo is my number one guitar right now, but... So I won't, because I don't have any 22 fret single cut guitars right now, but...
Nice.
Yeah, so those two, and then just because I miss having one, I miss having a headless guitar, so I want another Kiesel Vader 6.
I was looking into the Kiesels, like they're really like really awesome quality stuff, and like I would love, I always like I'm a big like Holdsworth noob, so I'm like
I want to play a Holdsworth so bad. They look so cool,
dude. Speaking of Holdsworth, there's one record that you should check out. It's called None Too Soon.
Okay.
It's a Holdsworth record where he just does renditions of standards, and it's like,
oh sweet, okay.
Yeah, he's got like Countdown and Inner Urge and Isotope on there, and it's like it's still like very recognizably a Holdsworth record, but it's like it's just like his take on all these standards, and I listened to it. I'm just like. It was like I want to hear more. I wanted to hear him play more standards. I love his original stuff, but like man, that shit just hit different.
I bet. That's crazy, dude. All right, just to kind of wrap up, it's my mom's birthday, so we're gonna go have dinner in a bit.
Cool.
What are you most looking forward to doing once this is all over? Like, all right, quarantine lockdown is lifted. Let's just assume that your schedule would go back to normal. What's the first thing you're looking forward to doing again?
Man, I guess well, this is a couple things I would say. One is just like getting out and seeing my friends again in person. It's like we've a bunch of I've had like these video chats and like Zoom calls with like a bunch of people, just to keep in touch with people and all that stuff. So like it's not like we haven't like lost anything like in terms of like our friendship, but it's just gonna be just to be able to like go like physically see people and like all that stuff is gonna be great. And also just getting to like just getting to like actually play with people again and like actually like have that that interaction and that just the performance setting. It's like I mean like now I'm doing the best I can with it, kind of building the studio up so I can like at least get a sense of playing with people even though we're not physically together. But like there's really like I mean it's a very cliche answer to ask, a cliche thing to say, but it's like that's I guess the thing that I'm looking forward to most.
Yeah, absolutely. I need to go back to band practice because I'm fucking losing it over here. I counted right now. I've got about 10 gigs that have been completely canceled or rescheduled, and I mean that's only going to keep on going. But yeah, I was so pissed because from March 7th all the way down through mid-May, I had 1 or 2 gigs a week lined up. And I was so pumped and so ready to go. And then it was just like, no. So a little bummed. But yeah, it's going to be hitting the stage again for the first time and just ripping that venue apart in the best way possible because everyone is going to be there like, all right, we got to do this thing.
Yeah.
And it's going to be great. Mm-hmm. So that's the first thing for sure. Going back to the regular schedule, of course, but it's going to be that. It's going to be plugging in, ripping the volume, and just going for it again because it's gonna feel like a whole new thing. Probably, it's gonna hit.
Yeah, it's gonna be like whenever like live music becomes a thing again. Hopefully sooner than they're predicting.
Yeah,
like it's gonna come back with a vengeance.
I mean, I have tickets to see the Backstreet Boys this summer. I better be fucking seeing them because I've waited like 20 years to go see them. All right.
We all have.
So that's what I'm looking forward to. But yeah, dude, this was super cool. I say we definitely do it again.
For sure, man. Like this can be.
Like I said, I still had a whole list of questions that we could have gone through, so we've got plenty of content to do this again.
Honestly, we could. This could go on. This could become like a whole series. Like if we wanted it to.
Definitely, yeah. Send me the recording when you can, and what I'll do is I'll strip the audio, fix it a little bit, and we'll throw it up for people to hear.
Word up, man.
I think that'll be cool. All right, dude. Have a good one. I'll play some music to kind of play us out. We'll go from there.
Yeah, keep hanging in there, man. Keep doing you. I look forward to actually seeing you in person again.
Definitely, man. It's like I said. Once this all kind of gets back to where it's supposed to be, I think it's gonna be pretty good, for sure.
Yeah.